Hello and welcome back to 1 Minute Interviews. This week we're going to be exploring the complexities and expectations of dating relationships in the LGBTQ community. Specifically, our conversations will be centered around how society as a whole has approached the changes to the dating game as presented by the LGBTQ community. Thanks for joining us. This is 1 Minute Interviews. Question number 1. A trend amongst LGBTQ relationships is to split bills or pursue free activities for dates since there is no economic expectation on either party. And as a result, the dates become more about donating time and energy instead of some sort of economic proposition. Do you think of this as a value that the rest of society should embrace?
I think it's a good idea to keep dating casual aside from gender stereotypes. I think there's a tabooness around dating and titling in general. So for the sake of keeping dating casual and the freedom to just go on a date and for it to not have any ties or unspoken meaning, especially related to who pays, I feel like that's silly. So I think it would be healthy for everyone to embrace it just for the sake of casual dating, no matter your preference.
That's honestly a great way to think about it. I think that there's kind of been in history, maybe there's been the man has more money, more I guess resources to be able to offer, but now when there's both sides, both partners kind of have stuff to give and it's kind of mutual and equal. So
yeah, I would say that the rest of society should embrace that. I think that it's always good to try and spend less money just for your own pocket and to save for other things, but I also think that sometimes spending money can be you can bless someone or have it be a gift to the person you're taking on a date, or just a way to show them that you love them and care about them. So I don't think that it's necessarily a bad thing.
I think for a lot of people, it's to each their own in whatever situation it is. It could be good in modern dating situations if there's kind of typical gender roles, and maybe people want to mix it up and avoid that possibly if they want to, if they don't know each other super well. But it's definitely something to just talk about with your other person. It doesn't need to be awkward or weird at all. I think just being hey, if someone wants to pay for your food or whatever, just be hey, I'll pay for your food if you're okay with that or something.
And question number 3. Do you think our society pushes a script when it comes to relationships? And I'll explain what that means. It's this idea that you have to date for a very specific period, get married after a certain period of time, have kids after a certain period of time, and if you deviate from this kind of what society sees as normal, then you're kind of weird or out of the loop.
So the question is that still true today?
Mm-hmm.
I think that it is, but the age in which it starts is getting pushed back further and further. So this narrative that used to start at 20 a few decades ago is now 28 or 30. And I think that the world sees it for its financial value and not for its moral value. And that's kind of primarily the benefit for doing it in a structured order instead of tradition or moral value.
In some ways, yes. I think it's more than society. It's just on a culture level too. Whatever community you find yourself in, or even location, possibly it could be quite different. But I think within certain communities it can definitely fall that way, that there's a correct path to find that, or correct script to follow possibly, that people are pressured into.
I would say yes, but I feel like our generation is starting to kind of throw that script out the window. In terms of getting married, I feel like a lot of people nowadays are not getting married and just living together, and kind of not valuing marriage as much. I think it's still a value, but I think the script is kind of getting rewritten.
I think there's like a lot of media and things like movies that can kind of give you a script and like kind of persuade you that like this is how it should be, and then you kind of might get into it and think, oh yeah, that is how it's like should be, and then if it's not, you're like kind of more distraught. So yeah, I think there's kind of a script that can be pushed.
Do you think that's a good thing?
I think the script is a good thing because of the value of commitment and keeping commitment as a priority. Yeah, I think that deviating from the script can cause relational strife down the road, but I think I think it's worked for a really long time, and that's why it still remains in some capacity. So I do support it, no matter if someone chooses to start it when they're 20 or 30. I think it has value.
I don't think it's a good thing. No, I don't think like having an expectation like that is really healthy, because no one's gonna be the same.
I think I stick to the script, but I don't think it's bad that it's getting rewritten. I think people are doing things differently because they feel like they need to. So it's kind of like I can't tell someone what they need or how they need to do things.
This interview has raised a lot of questions about the ways that people view how society has changed and how dating culture has changed. There's no question that the script about how you have to date has changed, not just for LGBTQ people, but also for straight and heterosexual people. Tune in next time for another episode of 1 Minute Interviews.